Hi.
Hello, namaste.
To start with, namaste. Would you like to say your name and where you are?
Okay, I'm Hasna Shrestha. I'm from Nepal and I'm resident from Kathmandu itself.
Okay. So this is you're 15 hours ahead of me in the world. I'm
Yeah,
This is one of those interesting ones to set up with timing.
yeah. So sometimes like it makes really difficult and stressful to communicate the people from the other part of the world, like managing time.
Mhm.
So yeah.
But here we are. So the first question that we have is, and we've never met, so this is a very interesting question for me. It's very open. Is who are you? Who are you as a person, as a human being? And you can speak about your passions, your values, your interests, qualities
Mhm.
about you, however you'd like. Just
Okay.
who are you?
Okay, first of all, I would like to say it reminds me one of the activity that our teacher France did with us, like, who are you? Um, I would like to say just I'm a human being who carries the value of supporting other human being. And as my name Hasna, I just want to link it. My name is Hasna, and in our culture, like the our typical meaning of my name is message, carrying the message. So sometimes I find myself in the mid, like helping or supporting someone in their process. Either the person is close to me or someone who is very new to me. I find at times myself in such type of situations, like where I am really connecting people. So in a way, I'll describe myself someone who connects
Okay.
maybe. And yeah, in professionally, I'm licensed clinical psychologist in Nepal and working in field of mental health since last 10 years. So it's almost a decade. So especially I have been working with children, and currently also I work in school and in one organization that rescue the trafficked children and rescue the children who are sexually abused. So I'm really working with some vulnerable group of children.
Well,
Yeah, and beside that, I don't want to miss that I'm a mother. I'm a mother of 8 years boy. So this is really something, a new identity of me that I think no one could uh, guess or say anything before they experience it. They themselves need to go through this process of motherhood to experience this wonderful feeling. So I won't leave, miss the opportunity to say that I'm a mother.
mhm.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That is some of the most difficult work, motherhood, but also working with children who have been trafficked. That's very, very respectable work.
Yes. Thank you.
That should never
And
have to happen. I'm
never,
sorry
never.
that there is a need for that job. But
Yeah, never, never. It should never happen to any child in the world. But like we are helpless, it's happening in
mhm.
almost all part of the world.
Yes,
Yeah,
they
it's really.
say the capital in North America is here in Mexico. So there
Mm-hmm.
are a lot of colleagues in Mexico also working with trafficking victims.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So it exists
Hmm.
everywhere.
Okay. And
Exactly.
I'm curious how you came into that work. Is there a particular reason? Is there a story behind why you
Yeah,
made this?
yeah. One of the person also asked me the same question earlier, a few months back. To answer this, I would say sometimes I feel this time for me. It was said already said for me. I'll say because while I was pursuing my academic masters in psychology, we need to do internship in our hospital. And seeing that clinical cases, I used to say no, I will never be in this field. Like I won't be a clinician, never ever. So that was my thought at that time. But after completing my master's, my first job happened to be working with again children, street children who are already survivors of different forms of abuse, from physical, emotional, and sexual, and plus again a group of children with the sexual survivors. So my first job was dealing with the children and working with those children for 4 years. Like I was completely burnt out. Like I used to see those children in my dream, particularly of a special child in which I have been working, and it was really difficult for me, like to leave the story when I go back to my home. So I again decided no, like I won't be working on trauma or this in this topic or this field. Then I pursued my further study in MPhil in clinical psychology. Again, it happened in a way. It was not previously long-term plan. It happened. There also I found like trauma exists, of course. There also I could see the children come to hospitals with the cases of abuse, sexual abuse, and other forms of abuse. And after completing my MPhil degree, also I again landed up in this job, like in this NGO organization that rescue the trafficked children and the survivors of the sexual abuse, especially the girls. So sometimes I find like maybe it is destined for me.
Hmm.
So I would say this because I never planned. I said no, I won't be working in this field, but again and again it happened that I land on the same field.
Hmm. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm also curious about in your own history, in your personal life, what event or circumstance would you say has shaped who you are? I mean, those are things that put you where you are in your professional life, but
Hmm.
as a person, what experiences would you say
Hmm.
have marked you?
Okay, well, answering to this question also, I need to go back few years back after completing my bachelor degree. Actually, I was a student of microbiology from a pure science,
Okay.
so I really didn't have idea of social science, what's going in our society. I really didn't have ideas about the social issues. And after completing, like I just finished my exam in bachelor in microbiology, and I was waiting for my result actually, and we had 2 3 months more like spare time. So at the time I decided why not do a part-time job, and I looked for some research job. Like I love traveling, so I looked for some research job that needs to travel out of Kathmandu, in outer city. So being a city girl in a sense that the word city girl, like I was born in Kathmandu, so in a way, I never experienced in my entire life till that age, till early 20s in a way, uh, going to remote areas, like experiencing the village life or the difficulties, hardship. I never experienced. Yeah, there were difficulties in a way, but not in that social context. So I grabbed that job of research assistant, and I went to some remote areas of our country, Nepal. And that experience, I would say, is a turning point in my life, I would say, because I saw the villages, and in villages, we could see only the elderly people and the children and the females are there, and male adults would go to India or Kathmandu or big cities to earn, and only the children were there, and the conditions were very miserable. Like they need to travel hours to go to school. If there is heavy rainfall, they can't go to school, and like the houses were so apart, and there were no hospitals, no even clinics. So there are so many questions in my mind at that time, like uh, how the people survive over here. Like I feel like I have come other part of the world. I never imagined like the Nepal has such society or places, because in my mind when we say village, it's a beautiful country, beautiful countryside area with the natural scenery, and the people are simple, happy over there. But it was very contradictory to my imagination. So that experience made me really feel like maybe I want to know people more, like how, like uh, what is the meaning of happiness for them, because till that time, what is happiness for me was totally different from the people I observed or I happened to meet. So that experience of my life of working as a research assistant in social field, that was really a turning point in my life. And returning back from there, I never left the opportunity to work in that. I like frequently started to do that work, and then I decided to leave the field of science from microbiology. Then I shifted to psychology. So just because I want to explore people, know the meaning of happiness in their life. So maybe this experience like molded me as a person. Who am I right now? I think.
Mhm. So I'm wondering, did you understand the meaning of happiness?
I would say something content and peace inside you.
Hmm. Yeah, I was thinking of the word contentment more than like happiness. Just
Okay.
yeah, I was wondering if that was maybe it, if it was about just being content.
So it's more similar. Yeah, it's more content and feeling of peace inside you.
Hmm. Okay.
Because even during the stressful situation, even during the overloaded of work, I feel that happiness.
Mhm.
I can find that happiness. And sometimes even I don't have work or I'm just physically I'm relaxing, I don't feel happy. So I feel it's inside you, the inner peace, that how you relate with your environment in Gestalt, as you say, mm, your relation with the environment.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So another question that we have is whether in the story of your life there is a person who has, speaking of relationships, who has affected or impacted who you are.
Mm, I'll say my son. I'll say my son because when I gave birth to my son, I was at a time working with street children, and they were from the age of 5, 6 to 7, even 17, 18. So after experiencing the feeling of motherhood, I feel more connected with those children. I don't know why. I feel like I have more space for them inside me. Eh, So maybe I feel like I'm good in connecting with them, with those children, and that quality has been developed maybe because of that motherhood experience, I would say. So I would say my son indirectly he taught me that even.
Okay. So I'm also wondering how you came to Gestalt. How did that happen?
Okay. Okay, it has also one some interesting story. At the time while I was working in the organization with street children, I studied about Gestalt theoretically only, and in Nepal till that date, I don't think there was any therapies that were taught in this way practically in a process way. So I was working on that organization, and one of the other staff actually joined Gestalt, and I was not aware about it. And when he came from Gestalt, like joining a block, he came and told to other fellows in office, like, she really doesn't know how to do counseling because in Gestalt, it's really different. So that was a big question mark in my mind. Okay, I completed my master, I did so many trainings. That was a question in my inner ego in a way. So I asked myself, so what is counseling? If he is saying me I don't know counseling, but I told him like there are different approaches of counseling. Maybe the approach you are talking about and the approach I'm working is different, but it doesn't mean like I'm doing the wrong way.
Mhm.
uh, like I told him, but in a way, back of the mind, there was always a question going on. Now, what is Gestalt? What is Gestalt? So luckily, I met Sam, and I talked with him. And when I met him, it was already 1 year past, but they were kind enough to let me join in that group.
Mhm.
So it happened in that way. So I joined Gestalt, And in the beginning, as I say, I was, to be honest to myself, I was confused. Can we apply this process with our clients? So, but after spending so many years in Gestalt learning and practicing and processing itself our in within ourselves, we can say yes, it is, it works, it really works.
Okay, and so how do you apply it? What is the way that you use Gestalt?
Okay. In clinical practice, when I was working in hospitals, it was a little difficult to apply Gestalt because people were more result oriented, like the admitted patients in the hospital or the patient who used to come in the OPD used to get relief from their pain as soon as possible. So before, like, they were more result oriented. They want to get rid of the pain, but it was difficult for me to make them understand about the process. Like, the process is more important. If you are already in the process, the result will come one day, and the result which is more acceptable for you, the
Mhm.
result which is created by you. So in a way, in hospitals, I don't much practice Gestalt, but in my private practice or in consultants, I am more into Gestalt.
Okay. And so what is your favorite part? I guess I could say what is it that attracts you or that keeps you interested in Gestalt? Is there a particular theory? Is there a kind of experience? What is it
There are
that you dig?
there are many. Particularly, I love doing experiments.
Hmm.
I guess I'll give the freedom to do the experiments with the clients. So I do experiments with the clients, and plus I love the process of awareness, because mostly people are not aware to their environment or to their whole. They are just thinking about or work on their part. So I love the closure and the whole part, working on the holistic approach of the Gestalt, and which is very new for many of the clients.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And speaking of awareness, this is a more personal question. You don't have to answer, maybe it's not relevant, but I'm interested how you experience yourself as a woman or how you experience your gender, and if Gestalt has had anything to do with that.
Without Gestalt. Does that mean without Gestalt, how am I as a person?
No, as a woman specifically. Um, if Gestalt has had anything to do with or not, how
Hmm.
you experience yourself as a woman in the world where you live.
Okay, if we talk about in the particular part of this world where I live, um, I'm considered probably not from my point of view, but as you ask the questions, in this part of the world, a woman who is educated, who has job, and who has a good family, maybe a happy and successful woman. Because when people see me as a person, they rarely see like the problems inside me. They don't see, like, people may think like, oh, she's very happy, she's very successful because she has very good jobs, she has done very good education, she has good family, and economically okay, she's okay, like stable in a way. So people may see in that way in this part of the world, because here, still in the remote areas, education for the girls is a big no. Like, girls are not like motivated for higher educations. Like basic level education, yes, but for higher education, I didn't see, especially in the remote areas. Like the girls are not educated so highly, and especially like the children. Let me say children because by the age of 15, 16, they need to get married. Like, it's in their culture. Even the law is against it. There is law like before 20, they can't get married, but still there is cultural process in a way. So comparing to most of the women in this part of my country, I'll say I'm more privileged. I'm much privileged, I would say,
Hmm.
in all aspects.
Okay.
And I'm really thankful for that.
Hmm. Yeah, and I'm wondering why I ask the question in relation to Gestalt. I mean, I'm trying to figure
Okay.
out, but I mean, I ask that, and it's not a question we originally included in these interviews, but it came up just because when people start talking about their processes, it's about becoming aware and more aware and more aware. And often there's that awareness of difference. So it's just a lot of people understand, or at least maybe I too, understand ourselves in relation to others, in relation to structures, in relation to the world. And gender is somehow one of those things that all of a sudden, like my understanding of it changed, my understanding in my own process. And
Hmm.
so I think that's why I ask about it in Gestalt, but I don't know if your process in Gestalt has anything to do with the way that you understand yourself as a woman.
Yes. Yes, because before Gestalt, like how we are raised up, but again, I would say I'm much privileged. I would say I'm lucky that I was not discriminated in my home as a girl or as a boy. Like I'm the eldest one. I have two siblings, like my younger sister and my younger brother. So my parents never like separated you are a girl or you are a boy. So you should come home by this time or your brother can stay out. It never happened. Like they treated us equally in every field, like in terms of freedom, in terms of education, in spending money, or like the making the relations, everything. Like they treated us very equally, or sometimes I feel I was more privileged in compared to my brother also. So that is how I'm grown up. In that way, also, I never had that opportunity to experience like the gender-based differences or the sex differences. Um, but as a female, there is subconscious type of learning, like how my mother treats her in-laws, or how my mother treats her husband, my father. Uh, like I have been learning that from my childhood. So she's a type of woman who tries to make happy everyone. so and so as we know, one who tries to make everyone happy is the most sad person because
Mhm.
no one asks her. So subconsciously maybe I learned that part, and I find myself at doing the same thing, repeating the same thing. Like I try to care people in my family, even I'm not well, or even I'm not feeling okay. Then Gestalt comes in, like the processing. What am I doing? I'm just repeating the cycle of my mother, what she has been doing throughout, how she has been treating to herself throughout the life, and the Gestalt just enters at that time. So I feel like no, I shouldn't be treating the same way to myself, and I try to break that cycle, at least in conscious way. At least if I can't break, I just chew it in a way.
Okay.
And
So, how would you say that being involved with Gestalt therapy has affected you as a person?
very much more in the way how I perceive the things, and most importantly, the awareness, and how I connect with the people around. Sometimes, like as a human being, we become judgmental. We judge people, like we'll say this is bad, this is good, and other time it hits in the mind like it's their process, like how they are behaving, how they are showing, are something a part of their process,
Mhm.
the part they have been relating with their environment, and that makes me feel more calm down and develop the acceptance towards the person.
Mm. Very useful. Very
Yeah,
useful.
very useful, very more useful. I would say the Gestalt is very useful, in a way, life skill, I would say, in a life skill for your emotional well-being.
Mhm. Okay. Do you feel like you're part of a Gestalt community? Does that phrase have any meaning for you?
Yes, it does.
Mhm.
is because we are the first batch in Nepal in Gestalt. So in a way, we have that responsibility also to sustain the Gestalt in Nepal and how to improve more Gestalt community, develop the Gestalt community over here. And now we have fourth batch of students over here. And talking about personally, I feel like the group in Gestalt, uh, I can be the way I am with them. Like I can share with them whatever I feel, the core feeling. I can even talk about my core feeling with them
Mhm.
because I have been known them since years in Gestalt group, and I know how they perceive me or how they treat me. So this group is really a comfort zone for me,
Mhm.
and I'm really thankful for my this group also.
Hmm. And do you feel connected to like a larger community beyond your training group or your institutional space?
Uh, Personally, not it. For me, not it, I would say, because I've been involving in my personal other tasks, and I'm not only involved in Gestalt only. There are few of my friends who are spending their more time in Gestalt Institute, spending the Gestalt, but I'm not that one. So I'm it within that small community only.
Okay. It sounds like you have a lot of other things to do.
Yes, I would say yes.
Okay. And also, I'm wondering what some of the greatest challenges that you have run into have been, or if there's a particular situation that has been a challenge for you within Gestalt. I mean, it can be with a client or taking Gestalt into a new place or for yourself. What is the thing that's been like, I don't know if this will work?
Mm-hmm. Um, with the client, sometimes it is really difficult for me for them to bring in the process, because they are more into their heads, and they are in an eager state to come in the outcome for the result. Like so, they don't understand the importance of process, and for many of them, I find like the processing is really confused, and they find it like waste of time and even the waste of money. And sometimes even they don't understand the questions like how I ask them in the process of Gestalt. So this is the challenge I find myself, and also because this is the skill I still need to learn.
Hmm.
This can be also the thing, like I need to learn still more
Okay.
to capture that particular challenge.
Okay. And what would you say is one of your greatest moments or greatest memories within Gestalt? Again, either with a client or in your training or in yourself, just a moment where you said, wow, this was important.
Okay, uh, relating to myself, I won't say there was just a moment and it just came out as a wow, but I would say for myself, it's a gradual process. It's a gradual process of awareness, it's a gradual process of processing and relating, making contact with the environment, making contact with the people around me. So when I see my journey in field of Gestalt, I would say it's really a beautiful process, beautiful journey, because where I started, yes, as a therapist, I was more result oriented. I was more eager to help my client, but with the support of Gestalt, with Gestalt, I'll say I have evolved out better as a person and as a therapist also, and the same thing I reflect with my client.
Okay, that's fair. So the last question that I really have is what is next, either for you as a person or as a professional? And also, what do you think is next for Gestalt?
Okay, as a profession, I have started to work when France, Great, and Ons come over here. I have started to work as a co-trainer.
Mhm.
I would say this is development for me, achievement for me. So I have started to work as a co-trainer with them, and probably in future as a trainer. I'm not sure, but maybe in future soon.
Mm, that's exciting.
Yeah, I would say like that. Yeah.
And what do you think is next or could be next for Gestalt therapy?
Um, nowadays people are more into when my clients or persons come to clinic, they are more into they already start some therapies or approaches in internet, and they would come, okay, do you know CBT, okay, do you know this therapy, or do you, how do you work in this approach? But I never found someone asking, do you work Gestalt, do you know Gestalt? So I never found it. And to most of them I tell, like, mostly I work on Gestalt, so they ask what is Gestalt. So I explain them, and maybe in Gestalt, it may be something the client may come us asking, like, do you do Gestalt? Like, do you work on Gestalt approach? So I imagine something, the place where client feel the importance and they get benefit from Gestalt, so that they themselves are more aware about this approach. Something like that.
Well, thank you. I'm wondering, is there anything else that you would like to add right now? Anything else you would like to say?
Not much, but yes, thank you so much again giving me this opportunity to process some of the things I never thought, or maybe something I explore myself while answering you.
Mhm.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Well,
And
thank
yes, looking forward to meet you soon after
you.
post.
Yes, yes, I hope so. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank